Welcome to Athar's Garage. In this video, I'll be working on the Yokomo Rookie Speed 2.0, steps 4 and 5. So let's get started. Just gonna go ahead and trim the excess plastic or flashing on these pulleys. All right, let's go ahead and assemble our spur gear with the front pulley. The front pulley is this one right here that has this extrusion, whereas the rear pulley doesn't have that. It's thinner. So we're going to go ahead and line up these 4 holes on this side, here, 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 and here, with these 4 holes on the spur gear. Next, we're going to take these, they look like pretty special screws. They're called the FTHS. So they're pretty small and have a very small head. So we're going to take these and install them through the 4 holes in the spur gear. And I'm going to install in a crisscross pattern so I don't install it slightly cockeyed. Now we're going to need our motor plate. It's a cast piece, not machined. You can kind of see from the edges it's not that clean. So let's go ahead and put this together. We're going to install the rear pulley onto this piece here. Just check the orientation of the splines and make sure that they line up, just like so. We can go ahead and install one of our drive belts. Both belts are the same size, so we'll just go ahead and install one. We're going to go ahead and install a 5x8 bearing on both of the pulleys, just like so. Next, we're going to install the main shaft, which is this piece here. We need the main shaft washer. If you don't install this, it won't spin freely. So we got that, and then we need an M3x12 button head screw. And since it is going into aluminum, I will apply some blue Loctite. And it's going to install through this hole right here. And the main shaft does have a hex on it, so we can hold back up. There we go, nice and snug. So now we can install our upper deck supports. We have 2 of them, one for the front, one for the rear. So we're just going to check to make sure we don't need to trim any excess flashing. So this is the rear. Take note that this little lip right here is going to face the rear of the motor plate, just like so. And we're going to install it with an M3x8 screw. The front upper deck support is going to install in this orientation here. Just like so. And that's also going to install with an M3x8 button head screw. Okay, so now we can grab our chassis, And we're going to install this motor plate assembly onto the chassis. So we're going to need this, our chassis, and two M3x6 button head screws. So we have the rear of the car over here, as indicated by our suspension mount. The motor plate is going to go on this side of this plastic, and the upper deck supports are going to install on this pin here and this pin here. So now we're going to install the two M3x6 button head screws in this little channel and hole right here, as well as this hole and channel right here. And since it is threading into aluminum, I will be applying some blue Loctite. All right, so now we can focus on our rear side here. We're going to go ahead and install these very small springs and very small balls. And we're going to use some of this black grease that came in the kit. So let's go ahead and grab that. So we don't want these springs to fall out. So what we're going to do is we're going to just put a little bit of black grease on the springs. And then we're going to install them in these holes in the bulkheads here and here. We're going to do the same thing for the balls because we don't want these balls to fall out when we're changing the diff. Now we're going to grab our rear diff. We have 5K in it, so it spins nice and easy. This one is our front diff. We've got 500K in it, so it doesn't spin that well. So take note at which orientation the pulley is going to install on. It's going to install on this side of the vehicle, as you can see by this cutout in the chassis. And we're going to try to install these cams with this little cutout that's right here facing down. And I want to make sure that on both sides they're facing the same way. So you can see here that this line matches up with this little tick mark right here. And then on this side, the same thing. The line matches up with the tick mark, so we know that both of these cams are installed in the correct orientation. So now we can find our rear bulkhead cap. It's going to be this one right here. It has an R on it, so we can get this off the parts tree. So we're going to face this flat side right here with the two pins facing the rear of the vehicle. And we're going to install using 4 M3x10 button head screws. So it's going to install just like so. And then the 4 M3x10 screws are going to install in these 4 holes. And I'm going to tighten in a crisscross pattern so that way it doesn't cause any binding on the bearings. All right, everything moves nice and free. I don't see any binding, so we can go ahead and continue. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing for the front now. Apply some grease on the springs and these balls and then install them in the bulkheads. Now we can grab our front diff and install the drive belt on there, as well as installing the drive belt onto the pulley. Now we can make sure that the cams on both sides are going to face the same direction. We're going to have that center tick mark line up with the tick mark on the bulkhead itself. You can see the tick marks line up, so we're going to call that good on both sides. So now we can grab our front bulkhead cap and install this. And the same thing here, we're going to install with this flat section with these two pins facing the front of the vehicle. So we have it just like so. And we're going to install using 4 M3x10 button head screws. And also going to tighten in a crisscross pattern. Lastly, for step 5, we're going to install the suspension mount for the front. We have this suspension mount here, and we're just going to trim some of this excess plastic. And it says FR on there, so it looks like the front rear mount. And it's going to install over the belt. So you're going to go ahead and put it over the belt here, and it's going to install using these two holes here and here, and on the bottom it's going to be this hole and this hole. And we're going to install using 2 M3x8 flathead screws. All right, so there we go. Everything moves nice and free like it should. No binding on the front or rear diffs or the center pulley. So that's it for steps 4 and 5. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did. Let me know down in the comments if you have any experience with this kit, if you've built it before, or have any tips or tricks. That would be great for the community. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.